Hi students, welcome to the structural engineering lectures. The uh, the series of the finite element methods. In previous class, we have discussed about the fundamentals of finite element methods, wherein we have seen numerical integration techniques, Gaussian quadrature. Right. In today's class, we shall see the discussions on 2D higher order elements, isoparametric elements. Right. Now, this is how the higher order elements, right? One six noded higher order 2D element, right? As well as eight noded higher order 2D quadrilateral and as well as 2D higher order 9 noded quadrilateral, right? Let us move to the further discussions as 2D higher order or second order elements. 2D higher order or second order elements, right? Previously we have seen 2D basic element students, right? That is how 2D 4 node quadrilateral. If I have mid-side nodes for that quadrilateral, it will become 2D higher order quadrilateral, or even in the previous class we have seen 2D 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 3 noded triangular element. If I have mid-side nodes, then it will become 2D higher order triangular element, or 2D higher order 2D higher order, that is how uh, 9 noded quadrilateral element or 8 noded quadrilateral element. Now that we'll discuss one by one. Hence, these are not basic elements, these are a higher order or second order elements, right? Now let us see. First, we'll go to the triangular elements. Then we already discussed 2D 3 noded triangular element, right? Therefore, if I have the mid side nodes, now for that this is how that node 1, node 2, node 3, right? Now I'll insert node 4 mid side node 5 and node 6 to that triangle. Then that will become six noded triangular element, six noded triangular element, right? Six noded triangular element, right? Then this is what sometimes called linear strain triangle, whereas previously we have seen three noded triangle is what called CST, constant strain triangle, because that strain displacement matrix B was constant. It doesn't depend upon the polynomial xi and eta, whereas here six noded triangle element, its strain displacement matrix varies with linearly with the xi and eta polynomials. Hence, this element is sometimes called linear strain triangle, or here the shape functions are quadratic shape functions. These shape functions are not linear shape functions, right? Not linear shape functions, right? Now I'll take a 2D body, which is a random body like this, any shape. Now I'm just showing a square, right? Or any shape, right? Out of which now I want to discretize that entire continuum into n number of elements, right? I may have now like this, right? Different number of elements may be there inside, right? Anywhere of any shape, maybe triangular shape or a square shape or a trapezium shape like this, right? Any shape, right? Sometimes what happens is, if I go to this niche part, right? Therefore now we can see that, right, uh, there the geometry is not having perfectly straight line. It is a curved geometry. Therefore, that may sometimes force us to choose an element having only like this, right? Just it seems as if it is a triangle. It is as if a triangle like this, right? A triangle like this, where in such a case the two nodes will be merged one with the other. Two nodes will be merged one with the other, right? That looks like this. Actually, there is a uh, four noded quadrilateral, but two nodes are merged together, put together, leading to a triangular element, right? Or that sometimes this node may be there at the mid of this or in between these 2 points 2 and 4 respectively, right? This is what called the degeneration of the elements geometries, degeneration, or this is what called degeneration degradation technique or degeneration technique, right? Even then the shape functions what you have proposed are applicable, they won't give any error. After using these shape functions, the results will not be giving any error, right? Then then now I'll take the 2D 6 noded triangular element, student. That is how my continuum is discretized using n number of 6 noded triangular elements, right? Of which now I'm considering this element which is taken out. That is what the exact element, student. But now I'm drawing a master element here, right? That is how my master element is like this. Now I'm showing here, please see, right? This is what my master element, student. That is how my node 1, there's a master element with node 1 along the local coordinate axis z axis, as is having the local coordinates as 1 0, and node 2 at 0 1, and node 3 at origin 0 0, and mid-side nodes 4 5 6 4 5 6, right? Node 4 at plus half, and node 5 at 0 half, and node 6 at 0 half, half 0 respectively. That is how my six noded triangular element, this is the master element, students. Then for this master element, this is actual element, student. This actual element, or this is that actual element, right? Now the edges may be curved like this. This edge need not be a straight line, this can be a curved edge like this, right? Curved edge, right? Even the line 1 3 may be a curved like this, or line 1 1 5 1 5 2 may also be curved like this, right? As appropriate. Therefore, because this is not linear, the shape functions must be a quadratic. Hence I'll be proposing the quadratic shape functions. And sometimes this is called the second order triangular element. Right? Therefore I'll use quadratic shape functions. Now let us move to the derivations of the quadratic shape functions. N1, N2, N3, N4, N5, N6. 6 shape functions are there. Therefore now first shape function N1, this is how that N1, right? If load is applied at node 1, student, then it will take entire 100% load, and it leaves 0% load to the other nodes. Therefore the variation of the shape function means that is how it is lifted by 1 unit, right? It is lifted by 1 unit at node 1, whereas by the time you reach this line connecting these 2 points, it will become 0. There onwards no contribution, 0 contribution in this shaded zone. It leaves 0 contribution, right? That is how exactly I am depicting this using this, right? That is how exactly depicted here, right? 0 means 0 over this part, right? Is 1 to 0, and totally 0 over this part, right? That is how the variation of the shape function, students, right? 1, right? Varying quadratically till the next node, and as well as here to this node. By the time it reaches this, it will become 0. Then that curvature will continue further. Then it will go to the node 3 as well as at other nodes, right? To take the negative curvature to reach that node, right? That is how the curvature, right? Node 1 at node 1 ordinate, and at the node 2, at the mid node, right? 0, and by the time it goes to the other node, it changes curvature and it becomes 0, right? Hence I do have a shape function which is a quadratic shape function. But we already know how to write the shape function using mathematics as a product rule, that here this shape function is becoming 0 at xi is equal to plus half, as well as at xi is equal to 0. At xi is equal to 0, at these two lines it is becoming 0. Hence using the product rule, now I can say shape function n1 is equal to some constant c1 multiplied by this line xi, and as well as the next line, product of these two lines, xi minus half, where that constant c is unknown or c1 is unknown, but we know that n1 is equal to 1 at its own node value is equal to nodal value is equal to 1 0. Nodal value is equal to at 1 0. It is having 1 unit. Therefore if I substitute that, then now I'll get 1 is equal to c multiplied by 1 multiplied by half, or that gives c1 or c is equal to 2. Substituting which, now I'll get n1 is 2 multiplied by xi, 2 xi minus 1 divided by 2, or n1 is equal to xi multiplied by 2 xi minus 1. n1 is equal to xi multiplied by 2 xi minus 1, or it is equal to 2 xi square minus xi. Therefore it is 2 xi square. The order of that polynomial is second order. Hence these shape functions are sometimes are called quadratic shape functions. Even linear term is also there, minus xi, right? I hope students you are understanding these derivations of the shape functions. If you understood that, now let us move to the second shape function. Students. Sorry students. Now in a similar fashion, now we will say that for the derivation of the second shape function, if load is applied 1 unit, it will absorb entire 100% load, right? Leading to that 100% contribution, and by the time it goes to the line connecting the 4 and 5, it becomes 0, and later onward 0 contribution from that line to the line up to connecting 163. That is how the variation of the shape function, that is what depicted here. Even we have discussed for the first node, it is a quadratic variation, students, like this, right? Where n2 is equal to 1 at its own node, and n2 is equal to 0 at node 5, and at node 3 also it is 0. At eta is equal to half, and at eta is equal to 0, this n2 is equal to 0. Then I'll propose the shape function as a product rule as c2 multiplied by eta multiplied by c2 minus half. But we know that n2 is equal to 1 at this 0 1, at this 0 1. Therefore substituting with, now I'll get c2 is equal to 2. Therefore n2 is equal to eta multiplied by 2 eta minus 1, right? Now if we do that, then I'll move to the derivation of the third shape function, student. Now I'll call this line as a line connecting between node 1 and 2 is given by 1 minus xi minus eta is equal to 0, or alternatively I'll refer this axis as zeta axis. This is local zeta axis. Therefore even I can alternatively call xi is equal to 0, where zeta axis, where zeta is equal to 1 minus xi minus eta, right? That is how zeta is equal to 0 along this line connecting 1 4 2, and as well as zeta is equal to half along a line connecting 5 and 6. Zeta is equal to 1 along a line passing through that node 3, like this, right? There are 3 equations of the lines. Now I'll recall those equations of the lines, right? At node 3, if load is applied at node 3, then entire load will be absorbed by that node, and by the time it goes to the line connecting these nodes 5 and 6, it becomes 0. Later onward, at other surface also, right, over other surface area also it is 0, right. That is how it is varying from 1 to 0, 1 to 0. That is how quadratically varying. That is depicted in this 3D schematic. I hope you understood this 3D schematic what I have depicted here using this illustration also, students, right. Then if you understood that, then I'll take the shape function n3 as a product of these, that it is becoming 0 at zeta is equal to 0, but zeta is equal to 1 minus xi minus zeta, as well as it is becoming 0 at this zeta is equal to half. This equation of this line is zeta is equal to half. Therefore, half minus zeta minus eta as a product of these two lines multiplied by C3. But this n3 is equal to 1 at its own node. That node value is equal to 0, 0. That node value is equal to 0, 0. By substituting that, now I'll get C3 is equal to 2. C3 is equal to 2. Therefore, the shape function n3 is now given by 1 minus xi minus zeta multiplied by 1 minus 2 xi minus 2 eta. Even this is also a quadratic shape function, students. It has the constant terms as well as linear terms as well as quadratic terms in terms of xi and eta, right? Now, if you understood this, then I'll replace this with zeta. Therefore, that is how zeta is equal to 1 minus xi minus eta, right? Then I can say n3 is equal to zeta multiplied by 2 zeta minus 1, 2 zeta minus 1. Then if you understood the derivations of the shape functions of these end nodes, now we'll move to the derivation of the mid-side node, students, right? 4, 5, 6, right? Then the derivation of the shape function 4, n4 means if load is applied at node 4, it will absorb 100% load, right? That is how it will absorb 100% load. The ordinate is equal to 1. By the time it goes to other nodes, it is becoming 0, like this. A 3D schematic, right? By the time it goes to the node 1 or other nodes, it is becoming 0. That is how quadratically varying. That is what depicted here in this 3D schematic, students, right? Having an ordinate of n4 is equal to 1. By the time it goes to all these, right, 0, 0, 0, right, everywhere it is 0 along this line as well as this line. Then I'll write n4 as a product rule as C4 multiplied by, it is becoming 0 along this eta is equal to 0 line as well as xi is equal to 0. Therefore, n4 is equal to C4 multiplied by xi multiplied by eta. However, at node 4, that is at half and half, at node 4 at half and half, n4 is equal to 1. N4 is equal to 1. Therefore, substituting which, now I'll get C4 is equal to 4. Back substituting which, now I'll get n4 is equal to 4 xi eta. Right? Similarly, now you can derive the shape functions for 5 and 6 in a cyclic fashion, students. Right? There is no difficulty, right? As we have discussed in the here for n4, right? In a cyclic fashion, now I can say that n5 can be written as 4 eta zeta, n6 as 4 xi zeta, in a cyclic rotation fashion, right? Then once we derive these shape functions, student, now I'll write the displacement. Next subheading is displacement, right? Then displacement u is equal to nq. But now I would have 6 shape functions which are written in terms of a matrix format here: n10, n20 dash dash up to n60, 0 n1 dash dash up to 0 n6, which is a 2 by 12 matrix. 2 by 12 matrix operated upon q1, q2 dash dash up to q12, 12 by 1 matrix for 2D 4 node quadrilateral. I'm sorry, 2D 6 node triangular element. 2D 6 node triangular element, because 6 nodes are there. Each node has a 2 degrees of freedom, right? 2 degrees of freedom, q1, q2, q3, q4 dash dash up to last 6th node as q11, q12, right? q11, q12, 11 and 12, right? That is how I'll recall all those degrees of freedoms of this 2D 6 node triangle. Therefore, there is a 12 by 1 matrix. this 2 by 12 operated upon 12 by 1 will give the displacement matrix as 2 by 1. 2 by 1 means the displacement along x as well as the y directions respectively, right? Even the element stiffness matrix is given by this T minus 1 to plus 1 minus 1 to plus 1 B transpose DB del J d xi d eta. However, once again I need to take the help of the Gaussian quadrature integration as applicable to this triangle, which is now given by I is equal to xi is equal to where integral I is equal to xi lower bound 0 to plus 1, then eta 0 to 1 minus xi f of xi eta dxi d eta is given by summation over I is equal to 1 to eta wi f of xi I eta I, right? Therefore, now the Gaussian quadrature, if I take for this the then I do have these sample points w and multiplicity value and xi I, eta I, zeta I, where zeta I is equal to 1 minus xi I eta I. Therefore, if I take one sample point, then weightage is equal to half, multiplicity is equal to 1 in the above equation, right? Well, xi I is equal to 1 by 3, eta I is equal to 1 by 3, zeta I is equal to 1 by 3. Like that, if you take, these are the two possibilities with 3 sample points, right? One with w is equal to 1 by 6, multiplicity 3, xi I is equal to 2 by 3, eta I is equal to 1 by 6, zeta I is equal to 1 by 6. Or the other possibility is that if you take 3 sample points, then the second possibility is with weightage 1 by 6, with multiplicity 3, xi I 1 by 2, eta I is equal to 1 by 2, and zeta I will not be there, 0, right? That is how these are the two possibilities are there. These are the two possibilities are there, right? Whereas you may also use other possibilities also. You may use other possibilities also. That let us move to the next discussions, students, on the 2D higher order quadrilateral elements, right? Now, one moment, student. That is how you may use this. If you are using other than 3 sample points, then you may use 4 sample points using this weightage and this multiplicity. And if you are using this 6 sample points, then that is how the weightages and multiplicities are possible. With 4 points also, 2 possibilities are possible, right? You may please see this Gauss quadrature formula for a triangle. Then let us move to the quadrilateral, students, right? This is how two-noded higher order quadrilaterals, right? Quadrilaterals, right? Like this. Then let us first see 2D 8-node quadrilateral. 2D 8-node quadrilateral, right? Like this. 8 nodes will be there. 8 nodes, right? Then, therefore, here there are 8 nodes. Therefore, we'll be using the cubic polynomials, right? Now I'm considering an actual element whose edges are curved edges, because these are now cubic polynomials, right? That is how along xi and eta I do have the nodes. Like the students, please see, right? Node 1 at -1, because this is my origin at 0 0. Node 1 is at -1 1, and node 2 at 1 -1, and node 3 in the first quadrant 1 1, node 4 at -1 0, and node 5 0 -1, node 6 1 0, and node 7 0 1, node 8 minus 1 0. That is how my 2D 8 noded quadrilateral, 8 noded quadrilateral. These are the uh, uh, coordinate values in local coordinate system along xi and eta respectively. Then one this is what my master element is a square, actually is a square, right? This actual element in xi eta space or even in xy coordinate system, but this is master element is in xi eta coordinate space only, local coordinate system only. This is a square, perfectly a square, right? Then if I consider that, then I want to derive the shape function, students, shape functions. Then I'll do this shape functions like this, right? As one moment, right? That is how the actual edges are curved edges, right? Like this, connecting between 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 5, right? That is how my xi axis and eta axis, right? Then I'll say that this equation of this line is xi is equal to plus 1, right? This equation of this line, xi is equal to minus eta, and eta is equal to minus 1, and eta is equal to plus 1. Then these are the four equations of the lines, right, respectively, right? Here for the in the master element, xi is equal to plus 1, xi is equal to minus 1, and eta is equal to plus 1, and eta is equal to minus 1 respectively. Then I'll connect these points, nodes of 5 and 6, and 6 and 7, 7 and 8, and 8 and 5. The equations of these lines connecting 5 and 6 is given by 1 minus xi minus 1 minus xi plus eta is equal to 0. Between 6 and 7 nodes, as 1 minus xi minus eta is equal to 0. The line connecting between 7 and 8 as 1 plus xi minus eta is equal to 0. The line connecting between 5 and 8, between this 5 and 8 as 1 plus xi plus eta is equal to 0, right? Therefore I obtained the equations of these four lines also, as well as that of these four lines. Therefore I do have equations of 8 lines, then using these equations of the 8 lines, then I'll propose the shape functions of all these 8 shape functions, right? Now let us see the first derivation of the first shape functions, that the node 1, right? If load is applied at node 1, it will totally absorb 100% load, student. Then by the time it reaches the line connecting 5 and 8, here you please see this, right? 5 and 8, it becomes 0. There onwards the entire surface, this shaded area, this entire surface shaded area itself is 0, right? Means now that is how the 3D variation of using cubic polynomials is depicted here. N1 is equal to 1, right? Varying cubically along xi as well as eta as well as xi eta plane also, right? Hence now I can write that n1 can be written as constant c1 multiplied by, it is becoming 0 along this line, where the equation of the line is equal to 1 plus xi plus eta using the product rule, as well as it is becoming 0 along this xi is equal to 1 as well as eta is equal to 1. Means from this line to these two lines it is becoming 0. Therefore I'll write as a product of these 3 lines between which this n1 is equal to 0. But I already know the value of the shape function at its own node, as at minus 1 n1 is equal to 1. Therefore substituting which in the above equation, now I'll get say c1 is equal to minus 1 by 4. Substituting which, now I'll get n1 is equal to 1 by 4 minus 1 by 4, 1 minus xi, 1 minus eta multiplied to 1 plus xi plus eta for the shape function 1. Similarly, now If you understood this concept, student, similarly you can do for the node 2, node 3 and node 4 also. These are respectively given by these equations. I'll not explain now, right? You can do starting from fundamentals. You can write as a product of these lines at which these shape functions quizzes, and substitute that shape function value is equal to n2 or n3 is equal to n4 is equal to 1 at its own node. That node value in local coordinate system or natural coordinate system you can substitute and get those constants c2, c3, c4, which are respectively once again as 1 by 4 minus 1 by 4 minus 1 by 4 minus 1 by 4, substituting which now I'll get the shape function n2 given by minus 1 by 4 1 plus xi 1 minus eta 1 minus xi plus eta, right? Similarly n3 given by minus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 1 plus xi 1 plus eta 1 minus xi minus eta, and n4 is equal to n4 minus 1 by 4 multiplied 1 minus xi 1 plus eta 1 plus xi minus eta as the shape functions of the four external nodes are corner nodes. Now once I evaluate the shape functions of the corner node, students, then I want to evaluate the shape function of the mid node phi. Means if load is applied, 100% load is absorbed by that node, right? That indicates that this is having the variation like this, right? Therefore that is how it is depicted. Then varying cubically, cubically becoming 0, right, to the other nodes like this, cubically at other nodes, right? Then I'll propose the shape function as n phi is equal to c phi multiplied by it is becoming 0 along this 1 minus xi line, as well as it is becoming 0 along 1 plus xi line as well as 1 minus eta line. Therefore I'll write as a product of these three lines as 1 plus xi multiplied by 1 minus xi multiplied by 1 minus eta multiplied by c phi then is equal to 0, right? Substituting these that n phi is equal to 1 at 0 minus 1, then I'll get c phi is equal to half, substituting which now I'll get that n phi is equal to half 1 plus xi multiplied by 1 minus xi. Therefore that gives 1 by 2 multiplied by 1 minus xi square multiplied by 1 plus eta. Similarly you can do for other mid-side nodes also, which are given by respectively n6 is equal to 1 by 2 1 minus eta square 1 plus xi, n7 1 by 2 1 minus xi square multiplied by 1 plus eta, n8 1 by 2 1 minus xi 1 minus eta square respectively, right? Students, this is how the shape functions of 8 noded quadrilateral element. This element is sometimes called serendipity element. This belongs to serendipity family. This element is belonging to serendipity family. Therefore this is a serendipity element. Sometimes this is called serendipity element, right? Then if you understood that, students, then let us move to the next subheading as 9 noded quadrilateral, right? Therefore previously we have seen 8 noded quadrilateral. Now in addition to those 8 nodes, if I insert a node at the CG of this quadrilateral, then that will become a 9 noded quadrilateral, student. That is why I'm just inserting at CG of this quadrilateral a 9th node. Therefore I do have 4 corner nodes, 1 2 3 4 and 4 mid-side nodes 5 6 7 8 and 1 node at the CG, ninth node, right? Then if you understood that, then that is how my actual element, student, in xi eta space. Whereas now I'll consider a master element which is a square in natural coordinate system, whose coordinates are given by this, right? That you have just seen in 8 node quadrilateral. 8 noded quadrilateral. The same are applicable here. I'll not once again elaborate, but the ninth node is having a coordinate as 0 0. You please see that, right? Ninth node is having at the CG of this element 0 0. That is how the different coordinates in a natural coordinate system, right? In the first quadrant, right? The second quadrant, the third quadrant, the fourth quadrant respectively, right? Those values, right? That we have seen elaborately in 2D 8 noded quadrilateral element, right? Then 8 quadrilateral element, right? Then once I do that, then I want to evaluate the shape function, students, then for which we'll now move to the fundamentals as like this, that I have already derived in previous discussions, that by taking 1D 3 node element, 1D 3 node element, I have derived this. One moment, student, right? Already derived this, that I have taken this, right? This is how my master element, student. This is how actual element. This is now actual element, right? Having xi is equal to +1, xi is equal to -1, eta is equal to -1, eta is equal to +1 as the 4 lines, and even other lines, even 4 more lines are also there like this, right? That is how my master element in xi eta space, right? Along with now the coordinates in xi eta space also as third node as +1 1, right? Fourth node -1 +1, the first node -1 the second node 1 -1 respectively, right? And other nodes also you can write, right? But if I want to derive the shape functions, now I'll consider the xi as well as eta directions respectively. That is how I'm just considering now the xi direction, right? That is how any node, this node 1 5 2 are respectively here are 1 2 3. These 1 5 2 along this xi axis or along this 8 9 6 are respectively 1 2 3, or this 4 7 3 are respectively 1 2 3 here. Therefore now we already derived in previous discussions for 1D 3 noded element or 1D higher order element, as assuming this as first node and second node and third node, where xi is equal to -1 for the first node, xi is equal to 0 for the second node, and xi is equal to +1 for the third node, as this. What is that? That xi the shape function was proved in that previous discussion, or you please refer to that previous video on 1D higher order 3 noded element, right? As we have proved starting from fundamentals that xi that shape function n1 was given by minus xi by 2 1 minus xi, or I can say like this also, that here the shape function n1 is equal to 1, and by the time it reaches node 2 and node 3 it becomes 0. Therefore it is written as a product of xi and 1 minus xi is xi multiplied by 1 minus xi, substituting which you will get that constant is equal to half. Therefore substituting which you will get the shape function, so that constant as minus half, substituting which that shape function n1 was proved as minus xi by 2 multiplied by 1 minus xi. Even for the mid node we have proved that shape function n2 there. Now I am saying here L2 because this belongs to Lagrange family, right? Lagrange family, L2 xi as 1 plus xi multiplied by 1 minus xi. Even that of the third node L3 xi as xi multiplied by 1 plus xi, that divide by 2. Similarly along eta direction I can write in a cyclic fashion as these three equations: L1 eta is equal to minus eta by 2 1 minus eta, L2 eta is equal to 1 plus eta multiplied by 1 minus eta, L3 eta is equal to eta multiplied by 1 plus eta divided by 2, right? Once I write that, then the shape functions are written as the product of these, right? Like this. That is how the shape functions are written, students, right? L1 xi, L2 xi, L3 xi are respectively 1 by 2 xi multiplied by 1 minus xi, L2 xi is equal to 1 minus xi square, L3 xi is equal to xi by 2 1 plus xi, and L1 eta minus eta by 2 multiplied by 1 minus eta, L3 eta 1 minus eta square, and L3 eta is equal to eta by 2 1 plus eta. Then using this, now I'll write the shape functions using the product rules, that n1 xi eta is n1 xi eta. You please see this, that n1, at n1 I do have L1 xi, L1 in along the xi axis, as well as L1 eta lines are there, L1 xi as well as L1 eta. But I already know what is L1 xi line, or line is given by minus xi by 2 multiplied by 1 minus xi, and also I know what is L1 eta line was given by right, minus eta by 2 1 minus eta. That is how if you substitute and if you do multiplication, it will now give cubic polynomials, right? Xi multiplied by 1, xi square multiplied by eta, right? Xi square multiplied, right? Xi multiplied by eta, right? Xi multiplied by eta multiplied, right? These are what? Cubic polynomials, right? Therefore, that is how. Now you, if you understood that, then similarly you can write the shape functions using the product rules for the second node. As here I do have L3 xi, right? L1 eta, right? For the node 3, right? L3 xi, L3 eta. Similarly N4 L1 xi, L3 eta. For shape function N5 mid-side shape function, L2 xi, L1 eta, and N6 shape function N6 as L3 xi, L2 eta. The shape function N7 L2 xi, L3 eta. Shape function N8 L1 xi, L2 eta, and the CG shape function are N9 L2 xi, L2 eta respectively, right? If you substitute, then you will get the shape function values, which are the cubic shape functions like this, right? Cubic shape functions, right? These are the shape function, students, right? Then once we write using these product rules, what we can do is that if I go to the formulations, interpolations, I can interpolate the displacement using the same shape functions. Even I can interpolate the geometry using the same shape functions of the same order which were used to define the displacement u is equal to nq, right? Then I can write x as summation of ni xi, students, and y is equal to summation of ni yi. If I don't change the order of the shape functions, the same number of shape functions if I am taking, then that is what called isoparametric element, isoparametric formulations. But for the 8 noded elements as well as 9 noded quadrilateral elements, subparametric formulations are also possible. What are subparametric formulations? Means if I use all the 8 or 9, if I use all the 8 or 9 shape functions to interpolate the displacements, but I'll only use the corner nodes 1, 2, 3, 4, n1, n2, n3, n4, 4 shape functions only. I am using less number of shape functions. Then such shape functions are what parametric formulations are what called subparametric formulations. Means x1 is equal to n1, x1, n2, x2, n3, x3, n4, x4. Y is equal to n1, y1, n2, y2, n3, y3, n4, y4. Then such formulation is what called subparametric formulations. Whereas what are superparametric formulations? Means if I use only, let us say, if I use only 4 shape functions n1, n2, n3, n4 to interpolate the displacement u is equal to n1, n1 q1, right, n2 q3, n3 q7, right, n4 q q11, right. Q11 means all the x displacements of these displacements q's, right. Only four shape functions using those respective q's, degrees of freedoms. But if I use more number of shape functions, means either 8 for 8 noded quadrilateral or 9 for 9 noded quadrilateral. If I use 8 or 9 number of shape functions to interpolate the geometry, x is equal to n1 x1 n2 x2 dash 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 up to n8 x8 for 8 noded quadrilateral, or x is equal to n1 x1 n2 x2 dash 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 up to n8 n9 x9. Similarly, y is equal to n9 n1 y1 dash dash up to n9 y9 for 9 node quadrilateral, and y is equal to n summation of n1 y1 dash dash up to n8 y8. If I am using 8 or 9 shape functions compared to that of the just 4 shape functions which were used to define or to interpolate the displacement, but I am using more number of higher order shape functions. Such parametric formulations are what called super parametric formulations, and such elements are what called the super parametric elements, right. Okay students, we have discussed in today's class the numerical integrations, Gaussian quadratures, 2D higher order isoparametric elements like this, right. In the next class we shall discuss the axisymmetric solids, triangular elements, part 1, right. Therefore, if you like these lectures on finite element methods as well as the structure engineering lectures, please do click like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel, students, right. We'll meet once again with another discussion on the finite element methods. Till then, bye bye students.